I've been increasingly having this discussion a lot with people on the fact that I personally believe that there are persons who have zero business having children. So on today's episode of The 5 with Miriam, I want to discuss 5 valid reasons not to have kids. Most of my content, most of my thoughts and observations come from things I see on social media, comments left, discussions that go on. It just sort of broadens your mind to the things that go on in the world. And I came across this story. I don't know if it's a doctor who shared or someone was recounting it, where the doctor was seated there with a family who their son is mentally unstable and he had just gotten married. The wife obviously is just getting to know about this, and she was in the hospital frantic, trying to care for him, trying to hear from the doctor, and the family members, I don't know if it's the siblings of the man, are seated there with the doctor, and as she leaves the room they start laughing and they're like, she's the one looking for husband. They've married off their brother, he has found wife. And that is just so insensitive. So insensitive. How this ties to why I feel some people shouldn't have kids will be discussed in this video. So let's get to it. So now this scenario ties to my number 1 point on why I believe there are people who should not have kids. For some, it's they should not have kids yet, and for some, it's never. They should not have kids, or not even bother thinking about that. Your physical and mental health, what state is it in? For some women, it is just another thing to tick off because society expects that, or society expects that at certain timelines in your life, this is what should happen. Get an education, get married, start having children. They expect those things in that order. But there are women whose bodies are not fit to carry pregnancies. And they are bent on doing this because of this pressure that, as we say, is from society. And they lose their lives in the process. And then you lose a human being who could have been of much better use to humanity because they were bent on having a child they had no business having. There are women, there are human beings with health challenges where bearing a child is either impossible for them or is very, very risky to their lives, yet they go ahead. Now that's physical, and there could be other physical challenges people have. You know, everybody knows what's going on in their personal lives that makes this a challenge. Now let's talk about the mental side of things. In the scenario I shared earlier, how is a man who is mentally ill enough not to function sometimes fit to be a father? In what way is he going to be present for his children? Now, if a partner decides she wants to be with him, already what the family did, not disclosing to her, is a wicked thing. But if a woman or any partner, someone else decides, like even if it's the woman with the challenge, the partner decides to stay with them, is a different thing. When it now comes to having children, how fit is someone who is in a horrible mental state, whether this mental state is from something genetic passed down, something they suffer in their family, or something they developed in life, however it comes. If a mental state is enough to destabilize you at times in your life where you can't function or where you can be a danger to yourself and others, how are you fit to be having children? I mean, this should be a thought that people in this situation should actively think about. A child is not there to heal you and your problems. People forget this, which leads me to another point. People who think, number 2, people who think that their children are meant to be born to take care of them, to heal them, to take care of their excesses or whatever it is that is going on with them. You bring a child into the world, you parent over the child, you're a steward over the child's life. So the child becomes an adult. Even when a child is an adult, a lot of us are still children to our parents, as long as they are alive. They don't see you as you're an adult, they are still seeing you as their child. So how do you give birth to a child and you feel that child should now cater for you and your own needs? You're not fit to be a parent if that is the thinking, if that's the mindset, because it comes from a place of selfishness. Even this ideology that have children so you have people to take care of you in old age, sorry, I'm going to use the language, is pure bullshit. Because may God forbid it for us in our lives, some children grow to be adults that you can't even call children. That aside, a lot of people, at least in the Western society, will tell you that people in old people homes or foster care or however they call it are people with children who don't visit, who don't even care about them. And in the end, I always say we will journey through this life alone. Nobody's going to jump into the grave and say, I love you so much, we will die together. Everybody still dies alone eventually. Selfish reason to have children, such as they will take care of me or they will be there for me, you know, it just doesn't make sense. If your mind is in the wrong place for some decisions you take around key things like having children, then you're not fit to have children. At least not yet. At least have your mind in the right place. Another reason I believe there are people who should not have children is extremely controlling people. If you know that you always would want anyone you are guardian over to do your bidding, they must do your bidding, then you may want to reconsider having kids if you don't yet. Or if you already do, you may want to recalibrate your mind about how this children could grow up and the kind of adults they would become. Again, not to talk about negativity, but to understand that a child will become an adult who will have a mind of their own. Yours is to guide. But if you're bent on, oh, the career path I choose for you is what you must go for, oh, this person I choose for you as a partner is who you must go for. If you're a very controlling person and you've not dealt with that, you're not fit to have children, because you will just end up making enemies of these children eventually. There are people who should not even be having children at all in that state, is when you are in extreme poverty. Just as I say about relationships, if you cannot pay your own bills, you can't even feed yourself. These are very basic things. As an adult, you are unable to feed yourself yet. You're unable to shelter yourself. You know, you're living from hand to mouth, basically. You have not even thought of a roadmap, a plan to get yourself out of that situation, but you're thinking about having kids and you're going with this funny ideology that it's God that gives children and it's the one that will take care of. God cannot give you your senses and you'll be insulting those senses that He has blessed you with. There is what is logical and there's just what is not logical. So you would keep having, in fact, some people go as far as saying keep having children. One is going to be your good luck. So you would end up having like as much as a football team, hoping that there'll be one child that will bring you luck. That is because poverty is not even just about the physical state of people, it's their state of mind as well, you know, because there are sometimes even the so-called rich or affluent exhibits poor mindsets, but I digress. Poverty, extreme poverty, like you're in dire need for your own life, and then you want to go and bring another life to the life that you already have, you know, to this earth, and it doesn't make sense. So if you're dealing with extreme poverty, fight for your own life first to remove yourself from that situation before you start. It should be a crime that you are that poor and you're bringing a child to the world. That's what I think. Number 5, there are a lot of people that are scared to say or express that they do not know how they feel yet about having children, because especially in a society like ours, the African, the Nigerian society, is like, what are you saying? It is taboo. But there are people who do not naturally feel the inclination to have children. And for whatever reason, some of these things are even biological. It's not like we can fully or properly explain the why. We have heard of women who are giving birth or give birth and go through what they call postpartum disorder or something like that, where they are having this dislike towards their newborn child. For some, it passes with time. It could just be their hormones or however they describe this. And for some, it consistently happens with them, so much that you hear stories of some of these mothers harming their children. If in your mind you don't feel ready yet, or physically you don't feel ready yet, then it is not, having a child is not just another thing on your to-do list that you tick off as done. It is a lifetime engagement, a commitment to bring a human being to the world, sacrifice for them, parent over them till you die or the child dies. It is for life. It is not something you will do one time and you are done with it and that's it. So I think with all of this in perspective, it is obvious that people who are not fit should not be thinking of or even having children at all, or have them yet in the state they are in the current moment. So I'd like to hear your thoughts around this. What do you think? What have you experienced? What have you observed around this topic of having kids or not for specific reasons? See you next time.